This is the Variety Show 2024. I want to do a video about the November 15th Mike Tyson Jake Paul boxing match that got so much attention. And first of all, I think Mike Tyson and Jake Paul both uh, did a good job as far as the fight itself. Mike Tyson, at his age, and then it came out later that he has had some serious medical issues earlier in the year, that I thought that Mike Tyson took the punches. He absorbed the punches, and um, and he went all 8 rounds. And he took everything Jake Paul had without getting knocked out. I mean, he could have fallen down, but I'm sure some of the punches that Jake Paul threw it like this, I'm sure some of them hurt. I mean, uh, it was probably hard on him to take some of those punches. So Mike Tyson took a beating, and he took it well, and he took everything Jake Paul had. He took all of it without getting TK'd or knocked out. So I think he on that Mike Tyson did well considering the age thing. Jake Paul did very well, I thought, and actually in the beginning I was rooting for Mike Tyson to win because I really didn't know that much about the YouTuber Jake Paul. I didn't know that much about him, but as then I learned more about Jake Paul. I found myself rooting for Jake Paul. I found myself liking Jake Paul after I learned more about him. I found him to be a likable character, and the way he's entertaining and he marketed himself. And but then I found out, that he's an interesting guy. I found myself liking him after I learned more about him because I really didn't know that much about Jake Paul, and I think he's definitely improved. It is considering that he hasn't really been boxing that long. He didn't have as much experience as Mike Tyson, so I think Jake Paul has improved, and I think he did very well. He did very, very well in the fight. Having said that, so I think they both did a good job, put on a good show. But having said that, at the same time, I think the boxing match was a bore. It was a bore. It was boring because they promoted it for about 6 months, and at the end of the day, it was kind of a boring fight. But at the same time, I said that they did a good job. Then the next impression of the Mike Tyson Jake Paul fight, all of these conspiracies on social media saying that it was rigged, and that there was a script and it was rigged. Anything is possible. But there was all these videos saying that with some lame evidence that of course boxing is corrupt. It's possible it was rigged and all the money involved, but just some lame videos showing some lame evidence that Mike Tyson and Jake Paul had to follow some kind of a script in order to get the money that they were being paid and so forth. And I just thought that was also boring. I really get into because it was a bore. The conspiracies were a bore. Then the other impression of the fight was to say that there were some people like Dana White, who is Trump's buddy, was saying, and there were other people saying that, oh, even if Jake Paul were to win or get a knockout, that he wouldn't be respected because it's elderly abuse, and Jake Paul is committing some kind of bad act by even accepting the fight because Tyson is too old and it would be easy for him to knock out Mike Tyson. And it's, it's almost they were worried about Mike Tyson's safety and saying it's elderly abuse. And even if Jake Paul knocked out a legend, like Jake Paul wouldn't get the respect because he's knocking out an old Mike Tyson. He's not in his prime, which is just so lame. I couldn't believe Dana White and there were other boxing experts and all kinds of videos saying similar things, which is crazy because look, first of all, Mike Tyson is a grown man and he agreed to it. He didn't have to agree to this. He agreed to it. You're feeling sorry for Mike Tyson? Are you crazy? And it was consensual, just like a relationship. It was consensual. That Mike Tyson agreed to this. He didn't have to sign the contract to this fight. He's a grown man. He agreed to it. And you're sitting there worried about Mike Tyson's safety, almost feeling sorry for Mike Tyson, making excuses for Mike Tyson. I don't think. Why don't you say that to Mike Tyson? I think he'd be insulted by you saying that you're worried for his safety and he can't handle a younger, because he's younger, Jake Paul's younger, and he's an up and coming boxer, which is just the most ridiculous thing that they're feeling sorry for Mike Tyson. It just doesn't make any sense. It's consensual. He agreed to it. He's a grown man. I just find that baffling. So the whole thing, I mean, it was just crazy. The way they promoted, the way there was so much on social media, and really, my impressions is it was boring, and the just so much. I've never seen so much hype. Way overhyped, overrated, overhyped. Netflix, glitching, blah blah blah. All the experts, blah blah blah. And now it's over. The dumb thing is over, and so I said, on the one hand, I thought they both did a good job considering their situation, and on the other hand, I thought it was a boring, and all the videos, sounded like, because there were so many videos talking about Tyson Paul, that I thought it sounded to me like blah 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 blah. That's what it sounded like, because there's just too many people commentating on it for 6 months of this, just this dumb thing. So this is the Variety Show 2024.